Most people in America are broke. Most people in America don't even have an emergency fund. Most people in America are stuck to their job because they are not doing what you are learning to do here, which is learn how to make your money work better for you. Welcome to the MoneyFitMD show. I'm Dr. Latifat, the founder of MoneyFitMD. We want to change the narrative where women physicians use. My job is to let you know that's gonna be. I have to surround myself with people that are doing crazy. It doesn't take a lot to live paycheck to paycheck, regardless of how much you're making. You could be earning $400,000, $500,000, $1 million, and it could still feel like you're living paycheck to paycheck. In this episode today, you're going to learn and understand why that may be the case for you, but also some practical things that you can do right now so that you can change the narrative. I'm Dr. Latifat. I'm a physician, founder of MoneyFitMD, author of Done with Broke and The Power to Choose, which was our recent best-selling book that we released on Amazon. You can find it there. And on this episode, I really want to help physicians, women physicians, learn what they can do if this applies to them. As someone that has had the pleasure of coaching so many physicians, I've coached hundreds and hundreds of physicians. We have a money school for women physicians. One of the things that I've realized when people join our community, or one of the biggest complaints that I hear is, I'm earning money. I'm earning more than I ever thought I was going to earn. I don't feel like I'm splurging or doing anything special, yet it doesn't feel like towards the end of the month, I'm seeing that I'm getting low, right to the point where that may now start to affect you in ways that you don't want. And so in this episode today, I'm going to have a sample of a hypothetical budget that actually is not atypical for physician families. For some of you guys that may be watching or listening to this episode, if you're not a physician, you may not get it. You could go, oh my goodness, 300,000 and you live in paycheck to paycheck. Listen, coming closer. You don't know it until it actually has happened to you. So it takes a lot of humility, but also it takes understanding of the lives of physicians, because it takes a lot for physicians to show up in clinic and not be able to pick up their kids early. It takes a lot, like you are seeing doctors, seeing you in the hospital. That means they may be on call. In order for a doctor to be on call, if they got kids, they need childcare. All of those things are not luxury, especially if you don't have family around, especially if you don't live in a place where you know anybody. It doesn't. Oh, you may have family and they just got their own lives. You have parents that are we raised you, we're out of here, right? And so it does not take a lot. And so I'm going to go through some parts of a budget. It's not a complete budget, but I'm going to give you just an idea of what a theoretical one looks like based on what I've heard people tell me. And for some of you guys that are listening to this episode, it's going to help you realize oh, I am normal. I am not atypical. There's nothing wrong with me. And there are things that we can do, things that you can do to change the narrative. As someone that didn't know a lot about money, no one taught me about finances, like many physicians, I thought once I started earning six figures, you can finally stop getting paid way less than I would if I was working the hours I was at McDonald's. And what I realized was that earning a good income, high income, only does not make the biggest difference. It has to follow with the management of the money and decisions that can make a difference when it comes to your outcome. So if you're a woman physician and you're ready to have money, you're ready to stop living like you're earning resident salary when you're an attendant, this is an episode that you want to listen to the end. But also, I want you to do me a solid, and also the physicians in your life. I want you to make sure you share this episode, because there's so many people that are feeling alone. There's so much judgment and shame when it comes to money, and people are not even speaking out. Literally, people are now speaking out, but this is more common than you know. And as someone that had the privilege of hearing so many physicians share their inner thoughts with me, just know that this is more common. And in fact, if you are going to do a good study and an honest study and really see the data among women physicians, which is my audience, you will see that this is more the norm than atypical. But that's part of my work. My job and my work is to make sure that we change the narrative. By the way, side note, if you're looking at my fingers and Latifah, your nail is off. Yes, it is off. I pulled that sucker out. And it was time for me to get my nails done, but I haven't had a chance yet. I will do it at some point, but make sure that my nails, well, I don't want to stick my middle finger at you. Make sure that my nails does not distract you from this super duper important information. And by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube and you have not subscribed yet, make sure you click that subscribe button, because what it does is that it helps you make sure that you don't miss the future episodes that we do. And our goal is to change the narrative for women physicians. We want us to be known as people that are good with money, but even more so than what people think about us, we want to be great at money. We want to have freedom. We want to learn how to manage our finances so that we can stop worrying about retirement. We can start having more security. We can start living the rich life we deserve, and we can start having the power to choose, which is the name of my newest book. You can find it on Amazon. We'll make sure we'll put a link here. But also the idea of the power to choose is that you can start to keep, like, we need to like change the data around burnout. We want physicians to be able to have the freedom to practice medicine and live on their terms. One more information, which is kind of crazy. I had the chance to speak at a couple of weeks ago at an event, virtual event, and I asked the audience how long they've ever taken away from medicine. And the most common answer was less than a week. Less than a week, less than a week. 2023 to 2024, I decided that I wanted to take some time off. So my family and I quit my WET job. My husband, who's an IT guy, let go of many of his clients. We took our 3 kids that were ages 5 to 10 at that point. We took them out of school and we traveled around the world for a year. Guys, this will heal you in ways that you did not even know. Like, this is like healing to your soul. And then recently we took some time, 2 weeks traveled in Asia, unplugged from almost everything. And guys, rest is not a luxury. Rest is needed. And in fact, if you've never taken more than 1 week, more than 2 weeks, and if you can take 6 weeks off to like recover, heal, defrost, it's the best gift that you can give yourself. So part of all of this is, how do you take the income that you're earning right now, the $300,000, $250,000, $500,000, $1 million that you're earning right now, and how can you actually make it work for you to help you have all the things that you want in life: retirement, kids' educational funds, not worry about money, a sabbatical if you choose, and most importantly, the option to leave if you want, because that is a key part in making sure that physicians are well. Okay? So I'm going to turn to this. And by the way, yes, there are going to be people that are listening to this that are going to be like all judgy. And you're, what the heck? Why would anybody earn that money? And this ain't about you. This may not be the episode for you. Go sit down in a corner. I'm here to help people that need help. And we don't judge here. No shaming, no judgment. We don't do that in this space, okay? So if you're in YouTube right now, make sure that you comment below and let me know your thoughts. And if you listen on the podcast, I would love it if you left a review about what you thought about this episode, okay? So the example that I'm doing, and I hope you guys can hear me. This is a little bit different because I'm standing, moving around, but hopefully you can hear me, and my audio person will do like some magic to make this work. But anyways, if you like this format, by the way, let me know, because I may be doing more episodes like this. And if I'm going to be doing more episodes, I may need to get more blingy gadgets to make sure that my audio comes out well if I'm going to be moving around. So let me know in the chat box if you like this format better than the other format. And, I may mix things up a little bit, but back to my conversation. So here's what we're talking about today. This is a typical budget, and I'm using this based on someone that's taking home a post-tax income of like $20,000, okay? I know if you're a resident or a fellow, you're like, 20,000 is a lot of money. It is actually a lot of money. But again, it does not take a lot for money to go down the drain. It is harder to make money than to spend it. It is easy to swipe, to spend on things that don't even feel luxurious, don't even feel like extra. And by the way, when I explained this, I went into more details in the Money School for my members. And the Money School is our 12 months coaching program only for women physicians, where women can learn how to take the income that they're earning to earn more money, but also to grow their finances, grow their net worth, and live a life that they want. And one of the things that the doctor said was that this was the knowledge is something that they're going to be applying even in their businesses, okay? So just FYI, you may want to integrate this into your business, your clinical practice, but I'm talking about personal finance here. So imagine you earn $20,000 post-tax, you got 2 kids, I got three, but many people have two kids. You have student loans, you have rent or mortgage, you have food, you pay insurance, you have utilities, and maybe you go to the restaurant. This right here does not include investments, which is really, really important. But the point I'm trying to make today is about the spending and how small changes can actually lead to an amplified result. So, two kids, childcare. I mean, my kids are a little older now, but when we were going to childcare with infant education and stuff, so that I could work, be on call from 7 o'clock till 6 o'clock or whatever I needed to do, average child was about like $1,000 for not like bougie childcare, like decent childcare was like 1,000 to 1,200. So imagine if you have two kids that are less than 5 years old, it is not atypical for you to spend 2,500 to $3,000. Yes, I'm in California. You people that are in Texas, you're like, Latifat, how come you don't spend that money in California? Well, we pay for the ocean. I don't know what else to pay for. If it's me, California, I have no idea. But the bottom line is $2,500 to $3,000 is what I'm estimating based on what I've heard. Again, for family members that are children less than 5. For some people, your kids may be going to private school and it may actually cost you more than this. And that's something that I'll talk about in a second. Student loans, I put $2,000 to $3,500. For some of you guys, you'll be spending way, way, way more than that. If you have average student debt is about $250,000 or so. So if you have $400,000, $500,000, you can see how this can actually be higher than that. And especially if you're, depending on what kind of like payment plan or payment options that you're doing, that can really be higher or lower if you have no debt. Rent or mortgage, I put 2,500 to 5,000. Some people pay ridiculous amounts. And I'm saying ridiculous amounts intentionally because I want you to be intentional about what your money is going. I'm not a frugal person. I don't even budget strictly. I talk more about spending plan. And I believe that what your spending is should amplify what is important to you and not just like what people say is important, like what really is important to you. But some people pay like $10,000 in mortgage, right? Depending on where they live. Some people, like if you live in San Francisco, your home doesn't have to be fancy for it to be like super expensive. I went to med school in San Francisco, and I remember even back then, which is like, I don't know, 2006 or so, the only place that I could find that was renting for $1,000, less than $1,000 a month, looked like a crime scene. I did not want to live in a crime scene, so I did not rent that place, right? But those things can really add up. And if you have two kids, you're not trying to live in a studio with two kids. You don't need like 10 bedrooms, but a studio, that ain't it, right? Food wise, food can be very, very variable. Depends on like, do you have restricted diet? Like one of my good friends whose kid is very, very allergic to things. So she has to, this is not like, would be nice. This is like critically life saving potentially to make sure that she was getting her food at places that she can trust. But for a family of or you could say $1,500 to $2,000, depending on where you are. Food is important. I don't shop at Whole Foods personally because I don't think it's better than Trader Joe's. I love me some Trader Joe's. I love me some Costco. Those are like my mainstay. I'm not a representative for them, but I really should be. So if you know anybody, guys, not Amazon, Costco, Trader Joe's, and they're looking for like brand partnerships, hook your girl up. Those are my two favorite places to shop. I'll talk about them like all day, every day. So food can get pretty expensive. And then insurance, I merged them together here. But when I talk about insurance, it could be life insurance, disability insurance, it could be car insurance, umbrella policy. All of that can highly, highly range between 700 to 1,800 or even way more if you're doing things like whole life insurance. And guys, this is why I'm not a huge fan of whole life insurance for majority of physicians. They're only a small subgroup of people that actually benefit from whole life insurance before they have wealth. Yes, people will tell you like this is one of the strategies the wealthy use not to grow their wealth. They use it to amplify, to protect their income. They use it for like to amplify what is already growing. They use it to protect their wealth, to grow the wealth that they already have. It doesn't help you build wealth. If you're in the building wealth category, you should probably not have whole life. And the thing is this, it is more likely to be sold to you than anything else because the people that sell it, they get a huge commission off of it, right? So yes, is there benefit to whole life? Very, very small percentage of people that are like super like less, maybe 5% of the top, I would say, benefit from whole life, or the lower people that are not going to invest. And if you're watching this video, you should be investing. So if you had whole life, I would highly, highly consider getting out of it, because when you have whole life on yourself and your kids, you can easily pay like $2,000 or so a month. And again, this stuff is sold more than it should be sold. So you may need to get out of it. So insurance is a huge one. And you can see how even that can make a huge difference. If you take that money that you spend in a whole life insurance, cancel it, get term life that costs you maybe a couple of hundreds of dollars, you can just by doing that cut down on the expenses by $1,500. And what does that mean, $1,500? $1,500 means now you can potentially put that money towards investing and growing into something that actually will get you more financially secure and actually give you wealth that needs to be protected. So even I don't have whole life insurance. Am I going to have it at some point? I may, when I'm so bored and I have like so much money, I don't know what to do. I've maxed everything else in the world. I've maxed my all my free tax, all my post tax. I'm like bought all the properties, all of that. Then maybe I will buy whole life insurance. But for most people that are building wealth, it is actually not helpful for you, except for some small exceptions. There's like family history of like health issues, and you want to get your kids protected because of that. Maybe there's like childhood ill issues, then yes. But otherwise, if you're building wealth, I don't recommend whole life. Utilities, phones, I put 700 to 2,500. I know, I mean, again, there's a huge range, and I'm putting ranges for a reason so that you can see that these things are essential for most people. So if you're looking just at what is my money doing, you may go, it's just childcare, it's just student loan, it's just rent, it's just food, insurance, it's just phone, it's just restaurant. But then the thing is, how much are you actually spending in the category matters. And if you can go towards the middle or lower, you can see how you can start to like crop out. So, 1,000 here, 500 there. And before you know it, you may have start having like $5,000 more left at the end of the month that you may not even have had before, right? Again, guys, I think the mistake people make is they focus on this axis. They just look at the title, but they don't actually look at, am I spending what feels that is applicable to the season that I'm in and the income that I'm in. I'm a huge fan of people earning more. In fact, when I'm talking to people about money, I focus more on like investing and growing than like cutting, because there's only so much you can cut, and I don't believe in frugality, right? But the math has to math. You cannot be taking on 20K and spending like 20K a month. And again, we're not even investing, which should be the first thing that's happening. But I'm just putting this for like, for demonstration purposes. And actually, let me go ahead and add up this. Let me give you the total of what this is. So I should have done this before, but I didn't. And it is what it is. It is what it is. And again, the goal is not, this is not about race to the bottom. This is a matter of like spending in a way that makes sense based on where you are. So this right here, if I looked at the top of the line, this is $19,300. $19,300. So yeah, you're like, it doesn't feel like you're splurging, but there is a range to this, right? And there's small intentional things you could do, like disconnect your Amazon. Like literally, I've done that where I canceled my Prime, like disconnect your Amazon. Because if Amazon is like, it's so convenient, there's no friction between you and the purchases. It's like, oh yeah, we need some more booties. They can't find like their booties. All right, we're just gonna go ahead and like order it, all of that stuff. So the thing is, you have to just make sure that you are intentional about what the money is actually doing so that you can actually grow your finances. So one of the things you can learn from here, don't focus too much only on this axis. Focus on where you are. What are the small changes that you can make right now that takes things away from where it's not adding value, so that you can actually have money that amplifies, that grows, that goes into things that is maybe important for you. So number one is, it's not about like just the huge things. It's about going deeper. And I like to say, be like a pathologist. What does a pathologist do? They look at things really, really closely. They're like, oops, I saw one villi that's like turned to an angle at 35 degrees instead of 40 degrees. It must be abnormal. They're intentional, right? They start looking global picture first. If they see nothing abnormal, they zoom in. If they see nothing abnormal, they zoom in. And then they start looking big on segments, right? So you look at your money like you're a pathologist, because you're you're going to thank yourself later for it. And the number two is like, just don't spend like what everybody and their mama says they should spend. Because at the end of the day, most people in America are broke. Most people in America don't even have an emergency fund. Most people in America like are stuck to their job because they are not doing what you are learning to do here, which is learn how to make your money work better for you. And then the last thing of this is this, guys. This is not like we're not celebrating the lowest spending month. That's not what we're about here. But the things that I put here are the cost of living. They're not cost of growing. They're not cost of building wealth. They're not the cost of like freedom. They're just the cost of living, bare living. And if you're barely living on $20,000, you're not even able to have any seeds to use to be able to grow anything else, to be able to be free, pay for educational for them. Those things are not getting cheaper. And most of you guys watching this, your kids are not going to qualify for financial aid. So this is about building habits, but also it's about generational wisdom. Because if you don't learn how to do this, how are you going to be able to like help your kids learn how to do this? But also remember that when you're spending money, for most physicians that are earning money clinically, you are exchanging time for money. Even if you're a radiologist, if you're a pathologist, about a GI doctor, like clinically, we are technicians. So we're exchanging time for money when we're practicing clinically. Yes, you may have a surgical center and all those which can be passive or semi-passive income, but when it comes to your clinical skills and clinical income, it is active. So you're extending time for money. So I want you to start thinking about the money that you're spending on cost of living and liabilities, things that don't increase in value over time, as literally taking your time away from your family. So if you can make small changes and cut and start having $3,000 extra per month that you can invest, $3,000 a month for 12 years and 10 years is not $300,000. It's way more than that. And I can literally pull out a calculator right now, and you can actually go on Google compounded interest bankrate.com. I like their apps, their calculators. Literally, you can just go there right now, look at the numbers and see what that would look like for you in 12 years. It would make such a huge difference that you can see that it doesn't actually take a lot in order to grow your net worth and make sure that you have money in retirement. So I hope this has been helpful for you. What I'm going to do is, if you really like this episode, we're going to attach another episode that we did in the past about how like two kinds of paycheck to paycheck living, because not all paycheck to paycheck living is the same. Some of it, one is kind of good, one you don't want. So I'm going to make sure my team includes the link below so that you can get to that episode and get your learning on. And again, if this has been helpful for you, make sure that you leave us a comment, leave us a review on podcasts, on YouTube. And by the way, if you have a doctor in your life, a physician in your life that you kind of like or love or tolerate, you absolutely have to get them a copy of our newest book. This is our bestseller, The Power to Choose. This is literally a guide that I wrote that will be the tool to help women physicians in this battle against burnout. We're not stuck. You're not trapped. But if you're feeling like you don't have a choice right now, if you believe that you're trapped in your life, in relationships that are not healthy for you, in a job you hate, in a city you hate, and you're like, but money, this is the book you want, The Power to Choose. And for those non-physicians that are watching this, if you know any doctors in your life, if you know even your doctor, get them a copy. Go to Amazon right now, order it, and next time you have your doctor's visit, just go there and say, I thought you would like this, and give it to them. You may change their life. This is better than like Starbucks gift card. This is better than a massage. I do love massages, so we can do both. But this is way better than so much crap that we buy. And this is the gift that literally keeps giving. This has been my own recipe that I've applied in my life. I've taught women physicians that pay me a decent amount of money to help them transform their lives. And now you can get it for just about $20. What's stopping you? It's on Amazon. Power to Choose, The Power to Choose by Dr. Latifat Akintade. I hope this has been helpful. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I'll see you in the next episode.